You aren't exhausted because the climb is impossible. You're exhausted because you keep carrying a version of yourself that should have been discarded long ago. Every excuse, every hesitation, every compromise, you're dragging dead weight and calling it who you are. Pathetic. You don't need another chance. You need the precision to eliminate what's already slowing you down. You probably think your problem is discipline. Half-baked conclusion. Discipline isn't the disease. It's the symptom. The real problem is that your standards are so embarrassingly low you've started celebrating effort instead of results. You finish one difficult task and expect the world to applaud. Why? Mediocre people are impressed by trying. The elite are only interested in execution. Look at your routine as if it belonged to someone else. Strip away your emotions. Ignore your intentions. Observe only the evidence. What time do you wake up? How quickly are you distracted? How often do you negotiate with yourself before doing something you already know must be done? That's your answer. Your habits have already exposed the truth you're too attached to admit. You keep asking why your life hasn't changed. Wrong question. Ask why your decisions keep repeating. Different outcomes don't come from better wishes. They come from different patterns. Yet every morning you recreate the same sequence of weak choices, then act surprised when the destination never changes. That's not bad luck. That's predictable failure. Do you know what's amusing? You think your potential has value. It doesn't. Potential is invisible. Nobody competes against your imagination. They compete against what you've built. While you're busy protecting the fantasy of who you could become, someone else with half your talent is refining skills you'll never catch by simply believing harder. That's the difference between fantasy and evidence. Every weakness you refuse to confront becomes part of your identity. Eventually you stop calling it a flaw and start calling it your personality. I'm just inconsistent. I'm just not confident. Listen to yourself. You're giving weakness a permanent address inside your mind. Inferior people label limitations. Superior people remove them. You confuse movement with progress. Your schedule is full. Your results are empty. Hours mean nothing without precision. Repetition means nothing without correction. Activity means nothing without direction. You keep adding more instead of improving what already exists. That's why your effort feels heavy. You're multiplying mistakes instead of eliminating them. Pressure isn't hunting you. It's revealing you. The second expectations rise, your preparation becomes visible. That's when confidence built on empty words collapses. You don't freeze because pressure is unfair. You freeze because pressure finally exposes the gaps you've been pretending weren't there. Reality is ruthless like that. It doesn't care how convincing your excuses sounded yesterday. Stop searching for motivation. Motivation belongs to people who need emotion before they can move. That's inefficient. If your actions depend on your feelings, then your future depends on something unstable. You're handing control of your life to whatever mood you wake up with. Think about how ridiculous that is. Your emotions shouldn't decide your standards. Most people spend more time defending themselves than improving themselves. The moment someone points out a flaw, they explain it away. Why? Because protecting the ego feels easier than correcting the mistake. That's exactly why they remain mediocre. Criticism isn't dangerous. Ignoring accurate criticism is. Every flaw hidden today becomes a defeat waiting for tomorrow. You admire confidence because you misunderstand where it comes from. Confidence isn't built by repeating lies to yourself in a mirror. It's built by collecting undeniable evidence. Every corrected mistake, every disciplined decision, every moment you refuse to compromise with weakness. Confidence isn't spoken into existence. It's accumulated until doubt no longer has facts to stand on. Your comfort has become more important than your ambition. That's the calculation you're pretending not to see. Every time discomfort appears, you negotiate. Every negotiation ends the same way you lower the standard. You call it balance. I call it surrender, disguised as maturity. If comfort keeps winning every decision, then don't insult ambition by pretending you still possess it. You keep waiting for the perfect moment to become dangerous. There isn't one. Precision isn't born from perfect conditions. It's forged by correcting yourself while conditions remain imperfect. You think your biggest opponent is someone standing ahead of you. Another half-baked conclusion. Your greatest opponent is the version of yourself that keeps demanding comfort before commitment. Every time discomfort appears, it offers you another compromise. Rest today. Start tomorrow. You've done enough. You obey so often you've mistaken that voice for your own. It isn't. It's weakness trying to survive. Weakness isn't loud. That's why it's dangerous. It doesn't tell you to quit forever. It only asks you to lower the standard once, skip one session, accept one distraction, delay one responsibility. The damage feels insignificant because it's invisible. Then one day you look at your life and wonder where your ambition disappeared. It didn't disappear. You traded it away one comfortable decision at a time. You waste too much energy trying to feel capable. Capability isn't a feeling, it's a pattern. If someone analyzed your last 30 days without listening to a single excuse, would they conclude you're serious? Or would they see someone constantly interrupted by their own lack of discipline? Your habits testify against you more honestly than your words ever will. You're obsessed with outcomes because outcomes are visible. The process isn't. That's why average people ignore it. They chase dramatic transformations while overlooking microscopic corrections. Yet those microscopic corrections decide everything. One better decision, one cleaner repetition, one unnecessary distraction removed. Domination isn't created through giant leaps. It's constructed through thousands of precise adjustments nobody else respects enough to make. Swinging harder doesn't matter if you keep missing the target. Before increasing your effort, improve your accuracy. Ruthless refinement will always outperform reckless enthusiasm. One calculated strike has more value than 100 desperate attempts. You keep asking yourself whether you're talented enough. Irrelevant question. Talent without ruthless standards eventually becomes ordinary. Standards force adaptation. Standards expose flaws. Standards refuse complacency. Lower your standards, and talent slowly rots into wasted potential. Raise your standards, and even average ability begins to evolve into something people can't ignore. There's something almost pathetic about how attached you are to your current identity. You protect it as if it's valuable. It isn't. The person you are today created the results you're complaining about. Why defend failure? Destroy it. Eliminate every habit, every belief, every routine that produced mediocrity. Keeping your identity intact while demanding a different future is irrational. You call yourself patient. Sometimes that's true. Most of the time it's fear wearing a respectable disguise. Waiting isn't always wisdom. Often it's hesitation polished until it sounds intelligent. You're not collecting information anymore. You're delaying commitment, because commitment removes your ability to hide behind possibility. Once you act, reality can finally judge you. That thought terrifies mediocre people. Pressure has no personality. It doesn't choose favorites. It simply amplifies whatever already exists. If your preparation is shallow, pressure magnifies panic. If your preparation is precise, pressure magnifies confidence. That's why elite performers never beg for easier conditions. Easier conditions reveal nothing. Difficult conditions expose the difference between genuine competence and borrowed confidence. Do you know why predictable people lose? Because they're readable. Every excuse follows the same pattern. Every decision follows the same emotion. Every setback produces the same reaction. An opponent doesn't need overwhelming strength to defeat someone predictable. They only need patience. Predictability is the easiest weakness to exploit because it announces itself before the competition even begins. Stop trying to become impressive. Become difficult to exploit. There's a difference. Impressive people chase attention. Dangerous people remove weaknesses until there are no obvious openings left. One seeks applause, the other seeks superiority. Decide which one actually matters. Attention fades, precision compounds. Your excuses are becoming more sophisticated. That's not improvement. It's adaptation in the wrong direction. Instead of eliminating weakness, you've learned how to justify it more convincingly. Congratulations. You've made failure sound intelligent. Reality remains unimpressed. Results don't negotiate with explanations. They only reflect what you've consistently practiced. Every flaw has a cost. Some charge immediately. Others wait. Poor discipline waits. Weak standards wait. Laziness waits. They accumulate interest in silence until the day the bill arrives. That's when people suddenly claim life became unfair. No. Life simply collected what you owed. Every ignored weakness eventually demands payment. The version of you that deserves respect doesn't exist yet. Stop pretending otherwise. Respect isn't granted because you have ambition. It's earned through relentless correction, through refusing to tolerate sloppy execution, through maintaining standards when nobody is watching, through becoming so precise that mediocrity no longer recognizes you as one of its own. Ask yourself one final question. If every excuse vanished today, every distraction, every fear, every convenient explanation, what would remain? Only your standard. And that's exactly why your standard determines everything. Because excuses don't create mediocrity. They only protect it. You're still searching for the one breakthrough that changes everything. That's why you'll never recognize it when it arrives. Breakthroughs aren't dramatic. They're built from thousands of decisions so small that mediocre people dismiss them as insignificant. They keep waiting for a defining moment, while someone else quietly becomes impossible to defeat. The difference was never talent. It was attention to detail. Every decision either strengthens your standards or weakens them. There is no neutral choice. You think one compromise doesn't matter because it feels isolated. It isn't. Every compromise teaches your mind what it can get away with. The next compromise becomes easier, then easier again. Eventually, discipline feels unnatural because you've trained yourself to obey comfort instead of reason. You keep asking how to stay consistent. Wrong question. Ask why inconsistency has become acceptable to you. You break promises to yourself so often that your own mind has stopped believing you. Think about that. You're the only person listening to every promise you make. And even you've stopped trusting your own words. That's not a motivation problem. That's a credibility problem. Mediocre people love complicated strategies, because complicated plans allow them to hide simple failures. They'll spend hours searching for perfect systems while ignoring the obvious truth. Wake up when you said you would. Do the work you already planned. Correct the mistakes you already know exist. None of that is exciting. That's exactly why it works. Your emotions have become dictators. One bad morning decides the entire day. One failure convinces you that you're incapable. One criticism destroys your confidence. Why should your future depend on something that unstable? Emotions provide information, nothing more. The moment they begin making decisions instead of simply reporting them, you've already surrendered control. Stop chasing perfection. Perfection is static. Precision evolves. Precision accepts that every performance contains flaws, then hunts those flaws without mercy. That's the difference between someone obsessed with appearances and someone obsessed with mastery. One wants to look complete, the other knows improvement never ends. Guess which one eventually becomes untouchable? You admire people with extraordinary discipline because you only see the finished product. You don't see the thousands of moments where they chose standards over comfort. Nobody applauds those moments. Nobody remembers them. Yet those invisible decisions are the foundation beneath every visible achievement. The outcome simply reveals what the process has already decided. Look at the way you respond to failure. Do you analyze it, or do you personalize it? Those are completely different reactions. Analytical people ask, what failed? Emotional people ask, why am I a failure? One question creates improvement. The other creates self-pity. Self-pity has never made anyone stronger. It only makes weakness feel justified. Your biggest limitation isn't a lack of ability. It's your obsession with protecting your identity. You want to improve without admitting you're flawed. Impossible. Growth begins the moment your pride becomes less valuable than the truth. Until then, you'll continue defending weaknesses simply because they belong to you. That's irrational. A flaw doesn't become acceptable just because it's yours. The frightening thing about mediocrity is how comfortable it feels. It rarely hurts today. It quietly steals tomorrow instead. That's why most people never notice it until the consequences become impossible to ignore. By then they're surrounded by years of tolerated weakness, wondering when everything went wrong. It didn't go wrong overnight. It went wrong every time they accepted good enough. You keep searching for confidence before taking action. Reverse the order. Action creates evidence. Evidence creates confidence. Confidence without evidence is arrogance. And arrogance collapses the instant reality, applies pressure. Build confidence. The only way it survives through undeniable proof earned one disciplined decision at a time. Understand something most people never will. Your competition isn't sleeping. They aren't waiting for you to become ready. While you're debating whether today is the right day to begin, they're already removing another weakness, another flaw, another inefficiency. Every hour you hesitate widens a gap that eventually becomes impossible to close. Your standards should be so ruthless that yesterday's best performance disappoints you today. If you're still impressed by what you accomplished last month, you've stopped evolving. Improvement demands dissatisfaction not with your worth, but with your execution. Respect your effort, then immediately question how much cleaner, sharper, and more efficient it could have been. The world isn't divided into talented people and untalented people. It's divided into those who relentlessly eliminate weakness, and those who endlessly explain it. Decide which side you've been feeding, because your excuses have already made their decision. Now it's your turn. Remain predictable. Remain lukewarm. Keep polishing the same half-baked potential until it rots into regret. Or become so precise, so disciplined, and so merciless in correcting yourself that even failure begins running out of weaknesses to exploit. I don't care which path you choose. One creates another forgettable person. The other creates someone worthy of standing above the rest. Reality will remember only one of them.